The film starts with Tim, who is a game developer. He is in a video conference meeting to develop a new video game, but suddenly his internet goes off, so he takes a break. During this time, he remembers all the good memories with his wife. He also remembers that his wife was pregnant and had to be admitted to a hospital due to some complications. All of a sudden, his wife appears in his house. Seeing her, Tim is surprised because she didn't notify him, but his wife takes him out. There, they meet the manager of his building. The manager tells them the repair construction is almost done and soon the building cover will be removed. They see smoke in the distance and some helicopters flying toward it. The manager tells them there is a fire in the port area. Then they move forward. Tim's wife shows him her old van, which was recently repaired. Inside the van, they eat pizza and talk about how they once wanted to move to Paris. She tells Tim that they can move there now. She left her job. They should forget that accident and start a new life there. Actually, when she was admitted during her pregnancy due to a condition, her baby died inside her belly. But Tim says he also wants to move to Paris, but now is not the time. He cannot leave his job right now. Then a call comes from his company, and he gets busy with work. At night, Tim and his wife lie in bed, and both of them cannot fall asleep. His wife is even crying. The next morning, Tim notices she has packed everything and is going to leave. She tells Tim that he will never change, so she has to go. But when she opens the door, she finds it blocked by some strange black bricks. She thinks it is Tim's work, so she asks him to remove it. But Tim also has no idea what it is. Then his wife notices a window is also blocked by the same bricks. They realize all doors and windows have been blocked. Tim tries to break the brick wall, but it has no effect. His wife tries to call for help, but there is no signal. Even the Wi-Fi is not working. They try to find signals at different spots in the house, but don't get any. When Tim brings his phone near the brick wall, it starts to glitch. Tim's wife finds a power drill, so they try to drill into the wall, but it is useless. Not even a scratch appears. They try drilling at different spots, but underneath the plaster there is the same brick wall, and it surrounds their whole apartment. They cannot understand how this even happened. Suddenly, they hear a screaming noise coming from the opposite side of a particular wall. They manage to drill a hole in that wall and discover a lady and her husband on the other side. The man tells them they rented the room only for one night, but now they are stuck. Their whole apartment is also blocked the same way as Tim's. The man asks if they also have the same issue. Tim's wife answers yes. Hearing this, the man starts panicking. Tim's wife asks the other woman if they noticed anything at night, but she replies that they fell asleep, and after waking up, they found themselves trapped in the room. That woman also starts panicking, but Tim's wife manages to console her. Suddenly, Tim notices the water tap has run out, so they begin sorting all the necessary resources. Tim thinks their situation is similar to a video game, so they need to think like gamers. But his wife says, "This is not like your creepy video game. This is reality." They start arguing. At one point they stop, but a frustrated Tim throws his cell phone at the brick wall. While sitting, he notices something on the wall. Upon closer look, he sees a metal fragment stuck to it. He immediately understands that the wall has magnetic properties. His wife brings him a coffee and apologizes for the argument. But Tim takes the metal spoon and sticks it to the wall to show his wife the magnetic properties. So they gather all the small metal pieces throughout the house and stick them on the brick wall. Tim's wife notices the magnetic field forms 4 square shapes. But suddenly, all the metal pieces start to vibrate, and all of a sudden, they burst out toward them. Tim uses his own body to cover his wife, but some sharp pointed pieces pierce his back, injuring him. Then his wife helps remove those objects and treats his wounds. Suddenly, they hear the scream of a woman from the other room. They come near the hole and call out, but no reply comes. They decide to extend the hole. After some effort, they manage to enter the other room through it. Tim carries a bat, and his wife holds pepper spray. They check and find the lady lying beside the bed. Tim's wife helps her get up, while Tim looks for her husband. Suddenly, the man attacks Tim and throws him to the ground. Then Tim's wife comes to the rescue using the pepper spray. Tim tries to punish the man, but his wife comes between them to protect him. She vouches for him, saying he has no faults. The woman explains she fell from the bed because they had been drinking a lot the previous night. During the fight, the man's wrist gets fractured, so Tim provides first aid. Then the woman tells them about themselves. They are a couple, and her husband's name is Marvin. Tim then checks their apartment and finds a storeroom. There, he finds a hammer. He hits the brick wall with it, but Marvin tells Tim he may break the hammer, not the wall, because he already tried. Tim asks Marvin why he attacked him, but Marvin doesn't answer. His wife explains that Marvin has memory loss issues due to excessive drinking. Tim's wife, who is an architect, makes a simple diagram of the building and proposes a plan. They should try to reach the basement by breaking through the lower floors. Because these buildings were built in the Cold War era, there must be a bomb shelter in the basement. And all those bomb shelters are connected to the subway network, so they can escape from there. Then they start to break the bottom floor. Marvin tells them someone must be playing with them. He suspects the building manager. At one point, they manage to make a big hole in the bottom ceiling. Tim climbs down to the floor below and calls for anyone who lives there. An old man comes out with a pointed gun aimed at Tim. He threatens Tim and tells him to go back because he doesn't want to share his resources. Tim's wife tries to explain the situation and tells him their plan, but the old man refuses to cooperate. He tells them to find another way. Then his granddaughter comes out and explains to him that if everyone cooperates together, there is a possibility of escaping this prison. The old man calms down after hearing his granddaughter. Tim then removes the tape from Marvin's hand and tells him to help break the bottom ceiling of this floor. While breaking the floor, they find a device with a camera inside it. Tim asks the old man if he installed the camera, but the old man denies it. He says it must have been installed by the building manager. Marvin also finds another camera in a different place. Marvin proposes that they are part of a deadly game similar to Squid Game, and someone is playing with them while watching through these cameras. He suspects the building manager is the mastermind. Tim's wife says they should ask him, as he lives in the next room. So they break the wall and enter the next room. But they are all shocked to see that the manager is already dead. He has been murdered. Both of his wrists are missing, and blood is spread everywhere. Seeing this, Marvin's health deteriorates, so he goes to the washroom. Tim's wife also starts panicking. Tim tries to calm her down and tells her to wait outside. Then he checks the manager's phone and finds lots of photos of the black brick wall. Later, they resume breaking the bottom ceiling. Tim's wife shows him a news article about the fire breakout at the port. He thinks this incident may be related to their situation. Suddenly, the bottom ceiling breaks, and Tim, Marvin, and their wives fall down. From the fall, they get some minor injuries, but they manage to get back on their feet. The old man's granddaughter prepares to climb down, but the old man hands his gun to her and tells her to go alone. He wants to stay behind. After many requests, he finally agrees to come down. Down there, a man raises his hands and approaches. He introduces himself as Yuri. He explains that this flat belongs to his friend. Yuri came here to visit him and stayed for some days. He asks them why they are breaking floors and what their plan is. After hearing their plan, he starts laughing. He tells them the brick walls are meant for their protection. It is a high-tech defensive mechanism that protects against war attacks. Tim asks him for proof, but Yuri doesn't have any. Instead, he starts making up strange theories. Tim's wife asks where his friend is now. Yuri shows them his friend's dead body. He says his friend suddenly collapsed, probably from a heart attack he used to research the defensive mechanism. They become upset after hearing this. They are also confused about the outside environment and are unsure whether to stay inside or try to leave. But Marvin, his wife, and Tim's wife decide they will take the risk of going outside. Staying here would only mean being trapped until their resources run out. The young girl checks Yuri's friend's research, but Yuri warns her that the research is the reason for his friend's death. Nervous, she leaves the room and joins the group. Eventually, they manage to break through the last floor and reach the basement. There, they find a tunnel locked by a door. They break the door, but unfortunately, it is also blocked by the same indestructible brick walls. This kills their last drop of hope. Marvin loses control and starts hitting the wall with the hammer. Tim struggles to stop him, so the old man points a gun at Marvin's head. Marvin calms down for a moment, but then quickly grabs the gun and shoots at the wall. All the bullets stop midair near the wall and start vibrating. Tim understands the phenomenon and tells everyone to duck. The bullets rebound toward them, but the old man cannot move in time and is hit. His granddaughter rushes forward and asks for help from everyone. Marvin also comes to help, but the girl tells him to stay away. Unfortunately, the old man dies. Mourning his death, everyone gathers and sits together in Yuri's room. Marvin's wife suggests they must have some similar life events that connect them, so they should share them. She reveals that she almost died in childhood because of an accident. The young girl says her mother died of cancer. Yuri confesses he once killed a person when he was in the police. The girl angrily says they already know Marvin's nature. They just witnessed it. Marvin apologizes for her grandfather, but that is not enough for her. Then they ask about Tim and his wife. His wife tries to speak, but Tim stops her. Still, she says they lost their child when it was in her womb. Tim gets up and leaves for another room. His wife follows him, and they start arguing. His wife blames him, saying that after their child died, he buried himself in work and never tried to talk with her, so she had to bear the pain alone for years. They both unfold their buried thoughts. Then Tim feels a bit relieved. He tells everyone not to lose hope. They have come so far, so now it is pointless to give up. They should search the building manager's room for evidence. The young girl also suggests checking Yuri's friend's research, as she is confident they will find something there. So Tim, Marvin, and Marvin's wife check the building manager's room, while Tim's wife and the young girl check Yuri's friend's research. But Yuri isn't interested in any of this. In the manager's room, Tim notices the room is smaller than other rooms. He checks a wall and discovers a secret room. Marvin finds a remote control with a passcode lock. Tim uses some powder to reveal the fingerprints on the buttons, and they figure out a 4-digit PIN. Marvin's wife goes to bring the others. In Yuri's friend's room, Tim's wife finds his business card. He was working for a nanotechnology research-based organization. This company researched nanotechnology weapons and advanced defense systems, mainly to survive terrorism and war attacks. They ask Yuri about it. Yuri answers that his friend never talked much about his work. He only knew that his friend was a computer scientist. After some searching, they find a broken smartphone and a laptop. Yuri explains that his friend often threw things at the wall when he was frustrated. They also find a paper in the dustbin full of strange patterns and codes. They suspect these codes are connected to the brick wall. Yuri warns them that the outside is dangerous, and if anyone tries to open the wall, they will all be killed. Marvin's wife arrives and informs them about the secret room, so they all rush there, except the young girl, who decides to stay and continue searching. Tim tries different 4-digit PIN combinations and eventually manages to open the door. Inside, they find computers connected to secret cameras in every room. Tim and Marvin start checking the footage. They find the exact moment when the brick walls appeared, spreading throughout the whole building like an advanced defense system. Meanwhile, the young girl examines Yuri's friend's dead body and finds choke marks on his neck. Later, they return to Yuri's friend's room, where they see his body lying on the ground. They ask Yuri what happened, but Yuri has already left. Marvin goes to look for him. Tim checks the previous footage and sees Yuri's friend approaching the wall with his phone. Somehow, he used it to open the wall. Marvin arrives at Yuri's friend's room and finds Yuri burning all the research papers. Tim and the others watch and realize that Yuri is the one who choked his friend to death. Marvin suddenly notices the young girl lying on the ground. He screams at Yuri, asking why he did that to her. Yuri explains that he is doing it to save everyone else's life. Tim comes with a gun to rescue Marvin, who is being choked by Yuri. Yuri throws Marvin aside and starts attacking Tim. Marvin gets up and kicks Yuri away to protect Tim. He is about to kill Yuri, but Tim's wife stops him, saying that Yuri might know a way to get them out. They knock Yuri down and tie him to a chair. Everyone feels deep sorrow over the young girl's death. Marvin's wife realizes that the reason Yuri killed his friend was because he knew the way to escape. They start analyzing the codes from the burnt papers. Marvin's wife checks the CCTV footage for more information. They manage to recover some codes, which are a combination of patterns and Morse code, indicating the barriers of the brick wall. Tim's wife shows him the business card, and Tim recognizes the company where the fire broke out. Later, they interrogate Yuri about how his friend managed to open the wall. Yuri insists that the outside is dangerous and that they are safe here. Tim fires 3 warning shots and asks again if the company made this nanotech wall. Yuri tells them he only knows that the walls were made for an advanced defense system. Tim's wife asks why, if the outside is dangerous, his friend wanted to go outside. Yuri explains that his friend thought the defense system was accidentally activated because of the fire outbreak. Everyone tells Yuri that his friend was right and he was wrong, and they all believe this. Marvin's wife figures out that Yuri's friend had been doing some programming. He was building an app to open the brick wall, but Yuri had broken his phone and laptop. Tim tries to reassemble the phone and back up all the data. He connects the phone to a computer and starts the recovery process. Tim realizes that the locking mechanism works through phone flashes, meaning a specific frequency of electromagnetic pulses can open the brick door. Using the recovered data, Tim manages to build an app. They bring the phone near the wall and use the app. They try different pulses, and the wall starts to change its structure. It becomes more fluid. Marvin's wife puts her hand through it, but her hand gets stuck, and she starts feeling warm. She panics as the wall begins pulling her inside. Everyone tries to help by pulling her, but she keeps getting pulled further in. Suddenly, the wall returns to its original state, cutting off half of her body while the other half remains outside. Yuri starts laughing at them. Marvin has a psychotic breakdown and shoots Yuri, then also shoots himself. Now only Tim and his wife remain alive. They sit sadly in a corner, thinking everything is over. Tim's wife tells him that when they lost their baby, she became mentally broken and needed someone to share her pain. During that hard time, Tim wasn't beside her. Tim apologizes and expresses gratitude, saying he appreciates her always being beside him in every hard situation. She says it's because she loves him. Tim promises that no matter what, he will get her out. They use the app again. They notice that the app pulses 4 different patterns of flashes. They check the camera footage to understand where and what pattern of flashes Yuri's friend used. They come down to implement the pattern, but suddenly Yuri, who is alive, attacks Tim. Then he goes after Tim's wife, who accidentally falls into the basement. Tim kicks Yuri down into the basement as well. Tim and his wife run toward the brick wall, with Yuri chasing them. They reach the tunnel room and lock the door, but Yuri tries everything to break it. Tim hands his wife the phone to open the wall. She finally uses the correct patterns and manages to open it. However, Yuri already comes inside and tries to choke Tim. He throws Tim to the ground and attempts to finish him with a dagger. Tim tells his wife to leave him behind and go outside. At the critical moment, his wife smashes Yuri's head with a hammer. They follow the tunnel and eventually see light coming from outside. When they come out, they see that their entire city is covered by the same black brick wall. They notice their car and leave for Paris. Later, the radio reports that because of the fire breakout, the nanotech advanced defense system was activated.